This past weekend was San Diego Comic-Con, the convention of all conventions of pop culture, not only comic books, obviously, but all of pop culture. And Marvel, guys, we know Marvel. You've heard of it, the MCU. Well, they, in a huge, humongous panel, they made their announcements for upcoming projects. We got Thunderbolts coming in. We have new Avengers films coming towards the end of the decade. And amongst that, there was a huge announcement that took place on Comic-Con, and you know exactly what I'm going to talk about, and you know exactly what we're going to get into. It was announced that the main antagonist of the next two Avengers films will be Dr. Doom, a huge, huge supervillain in the Marvel Universe, and now Dr. Doom is finally joining the MCU. Victor Von Doom, for those who want to be more specific. But he's a big deal, big effing deal for the Marvel Universe. And there was an announcement on which actor will play Dr. Doom. Now, if you are going to be if you're a big time A-list actor, this is a huge opportunity for you. You will be known even by, if you have a bad performance, as Dr. Doom. You will get this by default. And this is a huge opportunity for likely an up-and-coming actor or an established actor who's finally going to be a super villain. We have Heath Ledger, who was Joker, the best Joker. We've had Joaquin play the Joker. We've had Willem Dafoe play the Green Goblin. We've had Cillian Murphy play the Scarecrow. Tom Hardy played Bane. I know we're doing DC. Let me get the Marvel if you want to be more specific. Give me. Christian Bale for some reason in the Thor.
Marvel.
Who else?
Thor. Tom Hiddleston, Loki.
Yes.
What else we have? We
had Jared Leto for some reasons. Morbius. Now that, even though he was bad, people still know him.
He's still Morbius, yeah.
And the big thing, obviously, Josh Brolin. Wow. You have Josh Brolin as Thanos. So who's going to be who?
He played Cable in Deadpool 2.
Yes, he was in Cable.
He did. He was both, wasn't he?
So, there's a bunch of people,
which is interesting that we're about to talk about something.
So as I'm building this up, this is a legitimate big deal in Hollywood for MCU to make a big comeback. And this is who they decide. Let me show you in real time the clip that went viral over the weekend on who will be cast as Dr. Doom. You guys ready?
Ready.
Let's do this. This is the big announcement of who Dr. Doom was. And let me make this clear. At this moment, this is a top 10 most viewed Instagram video ever.
Yes. This went absolutely crazy viral.
So here we go, everybody. Here is Dr. Doom. Who's going to play him? Here we go. Okay, it's not Jared Leto.
It's not Jared Leto. That was pretty funny.
That video.
Jared Leto.
But for those who watch on YouTube and those who are listening, I'm about to tell you, Robert Downey Jr. was announced For those of you who watch on YouTube and those listening on all podcasts and platforms, I will tell you right now, Robert Downey Jr. has been cast as Dr. Doom. And lots and lots of questions. I will say initially people were really hyped, but it seems, I don't know, after 2 minutes, people realized, like, how is this going to work? So you're telling me the main face of the MCU, the role that saved Robert Downey Jr.'s life and made him the guy in Hollywood, and the ultimate hero, he will be playing Dr. Doom, a huge antagonist to the Avengers. And we clearly see in Endgame, and spoiler for a movie that's been out for 5 years, he died in Endgame, and he died for good. But yet, I guess it's true.
What the hell are you talking about?
What do you mean? He's died in Endgame.
He died in one version. It's a multiverse.
Okay, here we go. Wait. Before you break that down, what you're saying. But it's the idea that the character died. Yes. Sure, if you want to go deep in multi-universe and all of that, but it just proves that characters really don't die in comics.
Well, yeah,
Here we
I was
go
gonna
right now.
say, yeah, characters don't die in comics. I think that that's fine. My thing is, and we won't know this until the movie comes out, obviously. But this is not like, okay, Tony Stark is back, or very into Tony Stark is back. At least we don't know that. I mean, in the comic books that we know, in like the universe that we know, Doctor Doom is Victor Von Doom, who is a separate person from Tony Stark. If I'm not mistaken, no, I'm not mistaken. I'm correct. They're not the same person. So the question now becomes: is Robert Downey Jr. playing Victor Von Doom, and they're just going to pretend that he doesn't look exactly like Iron Man? Or are they going to try and create, like Jose's kind of alluding to, like a multiversal reason where Tony Stark in another universe is Doctor Doom, and then that Doctor Doom ends up in our, prime timeline, the one that the MCU mostly follows, and so we can watch all of the Doctor Doom shenanigans. And so that's what we don't know. Like,
yes, and at this moment, I just wanted to help your point. That hasn't been confirmed or denied. Nobody. They just showed that he's there and he will play Dr. Doom.
Well, in the comic books, at one story, Tony Stark does turn Dr. Doom.
Right, but the Russos,
you guys Marvel's not going to tell you that.
By the way,
you
got something on your lip, Jose. Okay, you're good. You were saying
Marvel's not going to tell you that.
Correct. So, no, nor should they. I'm just saying.
But there is a story. There is actually a storyline where Tony Stark is Dr. Doom, and everybody in that. Actually, if you look up that book had just skyrocketed. I forgot the name of which book it is, but it's skyrocketed. If you go on eBay, try to pick that book up. Everybody's trying to sell that book now.
Right. Well, and that was what I was going to say, was that if they make it so it's clearly Tony Stark, which you're saying that they have some kind of framework for that already within the comics. Obviously, if they make it Tony Stark, then this is fine. Robert Downey Jr. plays Tony Stark. So the idea that this version is Dr. Doom is totally fine. The only thing that would be weird or that would be problematic is if they do the one that most people know of, which is the Victor Von Doom, and they just recast Robert Downey Jr. as a different guy, which I don't think they would do. I feel like they're smart enough to know you can't cast Iron Man as
here on the official Marvel fandom database. I guess it is a thing. Blah blah blah. Let me see it reading in real time. Anthony Stark from Earth 11029. During college, Victor Von Doom tricks Tony Stark into experiment where his mind is transferred to Tony's body, while Tony's mind is transferred to Doom's body with memory erased.
Okay, hold on. Let me just pause right here. This will never work in a feature-length film.
And it's from the What If Iron Man Demon in an Armor Volume 11 that came out in December 2011.
Somebody did not watch Deadpool.
No. Tony Stark gets brainwashed in college is not a feature-length film from the MCU. They need to actually sell tickets to this movie. They can't do another bad one. I'm not saying that it can't be Tony Stark. It almost has to be. You can't just pretend he's a different person. But you got to come up with a slightly better version, like origin story for how Tony Stark, in whatever world, ends up as
Here's
Dr.
the problem. Here's the problem. You guys looking at they never ever truly follow the comic.
No, that's fine, and I'm saying they shouldn't, because that's not going to work.
A lot of people don't.
You guys don't. Do you realize why they made this move?
Because they needed to sell tickets.
No,
I know why they made them. Yes.
So why? Yeah, tell us.
Because tickets. You just made how much in 2 days? You made $200 million. It's not the reason why.
It is the reason.
It's because you had. First of all, Doom wasn't supposed to be the Avenger movie.
No, it was supposed to be Kang, but they had to replace him.
Yeah, we have Jonathan Majors got in trouble.
So you just spent 3 years in a low-key TV series trying to get Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah.
And that shit the bed. So now what you're going to do is get the one villain everybody loves with the one best actor, and you're going to automatically sell tickets.
Well, so there's a million actors
you didn't need to sell. You didn't need Robert Downey Jr.'s name to sell tickets.
Who would you put as Von Doom?
Because Michael Fassbender, Cillian Murphy for to say soon. What do you mean no?
No.
He's
do you
just
mean
saying
no?
no. Yeah, there's no
No.
reason for these no's.
How could you
These
not
are just
know?
him
You
saying
can't
no.
see
Is
that.
there really a better option than the one guy you can trust doing the whole Marvel series?
Yeah,
Yeah, because
because
he's
they're
already been in it.
actors. They're
Hey,
they're
let's,
paid
by
to
the way,
transfer into the transfer.
what was the guy you said, the Murphy dude?
Killian Murphy?
Yeah, Batman. Was trashing Batman.
No, he wasn't. What are you
He's never been
trashing
trashing
Batman?
anything.
And that was
He's one of the
That was
best
the
actors
worst.
alive.
That's
Christian
20 years
Bale.
ago,
That
if
was the
anything.
worst. Christian Bale one was Batman #1 out of the other two. Please stop it.
First of all, he was in
Just
both
stop.
Dark Knight and
Yeah,
Batman Begins.
one
and
of
he
the
was
best actors
good.
of all time. So I'm not going to take.
That's the
Cillian
point of
Murphy
an actor.
be
You
bad.
transform
Yeah.
into the character.
No,
You
This
he
guys
would
isn't-
have
need
been
to stop.
fine.
What do you
He would
mean
have
they
been
just
fine.
stop?
But
You know, he's a good
listen.
actor.
I don't mind Robert Downey Jr. doing this. I've said that already, but I'll say it again since it seems like we've forgotten that. All I'm saying is they can't do brainwashed in college because that's lame. And they do have to figure, like, they do have to make sure, and I assume they're going to do this because they're not dumb, that this guy is clearly Tony Stark, and we have to know that. Like, that
Yeah,
has to
right.
be the point.
Listen,
He can't just look like Tony. They can't make a couple of cute little jokes about how similar he looks to Tony Stark. They need to be very clear that this guy is Tony Stark from another, one of part of the multiverse or whatever they do. They cannot just pretend that he's a different guy. Because he's clearly not. Like you said, he's the trusted name in the MCU. Want to know why, Jose? Because he played the main hero the entire first and second phase of the MCU.
Can I ask you a question? When they announced Tony's, not I'm saying Tony Stark, when Robert Downey Jr., when they announced him, what character did they say he was playing? They didn't say, here comes
Dr. Doom. They said Dr. Doom.
They said Dr. Doom. They said Dr. Doom.
Right, yeah. Right,
Well,
so that's
guys.
what I'm saying. They're clearly going to
Perfect
do
pick.
Tony Stark is
Of
Dr.
course
Doom.
it's going to be Tony Stark.
But they need to do it well because it is.
We already established what it is.
It's a gimmicky casting decision meant to gin up support and gin up interest in these next two movies. And I get why they did it. Yes.
No, I agree with Ryan because if you say you. Sorry,
I was going to say they did it because they had a whole thing planned and they had to scrap it. So they've already got a bunch of negative momentum because they had to scrap the original plans. So they need to do something. They have to have a gimmick that erases all of that, erases the bad press of the Majors case and all that stuff. And this is a way to do that. You bring back one of the beloved heroes of your franchise, but now he's breaking bad. He's going evil. He's turning heel, to use a wrestling phrase.
You guys realize...
This is fine, but they have to be careful because otherwise it will just look like a cheap gimmick. They have to make sure they write it in such a way that it doesn't appear to be a cheap gimmick and it actually makes some sense. And get college roommate, not going to cut it.
You guys understand this is the 2027 movie, right?
It's 26, actually. 26.
26. What's the Secret Wars?
Right now, Avengers Doomsday is slated for May 2026. Secret Wars is May 2027.
That's the one everybody wants. Nobody gives a shit about Doomsday. 1, 2.
Well, they do because it'll be Tony Stark's first movie, or Robert Downey Jr.'s first movie is Doom. That's it's why it's.
By the way, it
Doomsday.
does say here he will be Victor Von Doom in this.
Nobody knows. Don't listen to that. That's all fan speculation.
I'm going off the IMDb press release for that.
I'm not even worried about the IMDb press release. They're gonna
I'm actually with Jose on that. I don't think that just because yes. Victor
for the sake of argument, I'll let that one go. But
it's a little too early to know the name of the character or whether or not they're going to reveal it to be Tony Stark. You know what I mean? Like, I agree with Jose on that. We can't be certain they're not going to make him Tony Stark. That being said,
they probably didn't even ask. They just probably put that because they're saying Dr. Doom and you already associate with Victor Von Doom. So of course they're not gonna ask Tony. I mean,
why can't Julian McMahon play it again, Jose? By the way, he did great the first time.
He fucking tried.
But stop it! You
those Fantastic Four movies.
You love those movies and you know trash.
I'm excited for the new Fantastic Four. I like the idea of them being in the 60s and stuff like that, and they will be in this next movie.
I'm excited to see if they tease Galactus. That's what I'm real more excited about.
Oh, what a moment,
Can you hear that? Can you hear that? Marvel fans, do better for yourselves. I'm excited about the next guy. No, be excited about this. If you're not excited about what's happening in front of you, you should say something.
We talk about, I haven't seen Deadpool Wolverine. I have seen the first two Deadpools. But if you wanted to do a meta, self-aware, this would work at Deadpool Doomsday. but not Avengers where you're
Well, it
continuing
could
on.
work. I don't want to
True,
make.
true.
I think it's could work.
I'm like, I'm not opposed to the casting the casting direction per se, but I just think you would have made more of an impact if you just casted somebody else.
Just a big name actor.
Yeah, like
Someone who's
it
a
would
big
have.
star right now.
I don't know if it would have been top 10 Instagram videos of all time
Probably
viral,
not.
but
But
still
can I say, who
viral.
cares? Who cares? Is
Well,
Robert
the
Downey Jr.
internet.
playing two different?
Well,
Listen,
the
Chris
internet,
Evans
yeah.
was Captain America. Chris Evans was also Johnny Storm from Fantastic Four.
Well, that's a little
Well,
different.
that's
all
different. There,
need
that's
to
not an
be-
MCU
Because that
movie.
they did a
technically.
restart. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
not
not
the
an
MCU.
MCU
Well,
movie.
it's
Technically,
not. It's not. Go watch Deadpool and come back to me. Spoiler alert: He's Johnny. He's Johnny Blaze in that. He's there. So it's an MCU movie.
That's right.
Talking
He
all
is
that.
no,
actually.
Wait,
He is
you're
actually in the Deadpool movie.
Drop
He
the
is
mic,
in the
baby.
Deadpool movies. He
I know
does.
that,
Drop
It's
but
the
a
I'm
mic.
saying
meta
as
movie, but
but
meta. It's supposed to be
Deadpool,
funny, but
Deadpool's that meta is a meta type of movie
right.
though.
It's
So
supposed to be more meta than, but yes,
let
technically,
me show you one
yes.
thing before we have to move on. Let me say this though, and then you could never trust comic books ever again. And I found this picture, and it's true. Hold up. Now, especially with obviously Wolverine coming back, and I don't know the context of how he came back because he clearly dies in Logan, but obviously that must be figured out. That's obviously
People come
answered.
back, yeah.
Have you watched Loki?
Not the show, no, but let me just show you this. This is true.
This,
Both of these genuine movie scenes mean nothing now.
Well, that's not true. They still sacrifice
Fox.
themselves in
Nobody
the
cares,
moment.
Krabs.
That's a
Sure.
comic book trope.
I mean,
like,
sure, but
what do you mean?
Still,
That Logan?
hilarious.
No bull crap. Because Logan died. Logan in our universe and that timeline, he's dead. See, what you need to watch is Loki, because now they established that people can go through multiverses easy like that. Deadpool did that. That's what Deadpool did in the beginning of the movie, was go through different multiverse to find a Logan, and he found one and brought one to this universe. So
I mean, comic
it's the
books,
same
Yo.
thing.
Yeah, comic books have always, because DC has multiple planets as well. Like comic books have always found ways to bring characters back. I don't mind
Correct.
that we're bringing people back. I really want them to the only reason I have any opinion on this is because it's very clearly a gimmick decision, and that means they could just yada yada it and hope that the fans cheer when they see Robert Downey Jr. on screen. I don't want that, because the movies, no offense to the Marvel fans, and I know there are a lot of Marvel fans, and I like the Marvel movies plenty, they have gone downhill in quality for a while now. I've not been a huge fan of most of them. There's some will pop in my mind and be like, oh, that's interesting. Like, but they've all of the more recent ones have been on average not as good as all of the first ones. So even the bad ones in the first group were better than the bad ones in this group. You know what I mean? Like, just the overall average has gone down slightly. And I think they really do need to hit a home run soon, or else they're gonna just kind of be a thing that it's gonna be like a flu shot. You have to get one every year, one or two every year, and nobody likes that. And then it becomes oh, I have to watch this, or I have to watch the Loki show. They need something that really invigorates the fans and say oh, that was cool, that was good, and this could be that. I just am worried that they're going to rely on the gimmick of casting their hero as their villain to sell tickets, as opposed to writing an interesting reason why their hero is now their villain. And a yada yada multiverse, yada yada college roommate is
that's how you get away. That's how you get away.
Right.
Well, we're just in the multi-universe.
Okay, I
it
get
just
what
needs
Ryan's
to make
saying.
some sense. It needs to be written well and performed well, and I'm sure it'll be performed well because Robert Downey Jr. is great. It needs to be written well for him to perform it well.
I get your point, but you are not understanding that at one point in the last phases, there was a freaking Marvel movie every 3 months. It's just like a fat kid eating McDonald's every freaking month, every day.
Right.
Eventually,
No,
he's gonna get tired, and that's what happened. So if you notice that they stopped doing every 3 months, you probably get 1, 2, maybe 3 at most a year. I think it's only even 2, because what was the last one?
Yeah. No, they've definitely scaled back, which is good. And they've scaled back on making the Marvel TV shows on Disney Plus required viewing, which is also good because not everybody has it. And frankly, even though I have it, I don't watch it anymore. So because it got to be too much. I was watching too many things. So they've definitely realized that they have to scale back, and that's going to help too. But I do think that it needs to be well written. Obviously, well act is not a problem given the names that we have involved, and they can do it. The Russo brothers can do this. I'm not at all saying they
They are
can't.
proven. They
Yes, they're
proved it.
absolutely capable of doing this. I'm just saying I hope they take the time to do it and they don't rely on the gimmick of we cast our biggest hero to be our new biggest villain, because that will be a letdown, and I think that will show, maybe not in the sales of the tickets for this movie, but in the subsequent movies and in the reaction to all of the content they push out afterward, that will be felt.
Exactly. So, as anything, we will just have to see how this all plays out. Am I right?
I think so.
I'm sure we are all going to be pleasantly surprised. And let's hope when we review this in May 2026 that
it's good.
It's good, and that we also are taking steps further in growing the show. That's all I hope by then. So that'll complete our talk for now with Robert Downey Jr. getting Dr. Doom, and man, getting that bag, just gets
so much money.
his comeback, gets his Oscar, and then just goes back to get his money. Why the hell not?
I support that 100%.